All right, everybody, hello and welcome. Thank you for being here today. This is my first stream on a Linux operating system. And so I had to wipe all of my Windows files, of course. Well, not the files, I kept the files, but Windows applications and programs, including OBS and all of its settings. So you guys all know that last week Windows 10 is no longer supported. They are done supporting Windows 10. They're all on to Windows 11. And I refuse to upgrade my computer to be compatible with Windows 11 software. So I found a nice little Linux distribution, and we're trying that out instead. Seems to be working pretty well. Seems to be pretty resource efficient, but we'll see. I mean, maybe the stream will get super laggy and will be very painful to watch, and you'll all be raging in the comments about how I need to just upgrade my computer, bite the bullet. But we're trying to get around it for now. So let me know if there are any settings that are a little bit out of whack or a little bit wonky. The only thing that I've noticed so far is not very helpful stream title. So because there is not a very helpful stream title, I'm just going to outright tell you right now. And look at that. It only took me like a minute to give all of that introduction. This is Alchemy League. Alchemy League is an Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition competition. It's single division, but the matches from that division are arranged in such a way that you play people who are nearby to you in skill level. So what you see on your screen right now is a list of all the players currently enrolled in the first season of Alchemy League Season 8. And so at the very top here we have Niaz, and at the bottom we have Jasuni. And we have this matchmaking algorithm that will go in and it will match Niaz and Jasuni and everybody in here against people who are nearby. And the arrangements are made in such a way that they all have approximately the same number of opponents. And that manifests in the round by round. So these are all of the unique matchups that are generated between players. And then if the players are very far apart, it will assign handicap to the lower ELO player. But this season we had a lot of signups relative to other seasons, and so therefore no handicap ended up being assigned, which is better. People dislike the handicap. It's kind of a very strange thing to quantify. So these are all the potential unique matches that in theory should be generated throughout the season, but sometimes people don't play for whatever reason because they have, I don't know, real lives or something. So anyway, but we're not going to cast those games. We're going to cast the ones that they did play because that's far more interesting. So we're going to see Wayne Dinchester. He's up here. He's our number 2 seed. Play against Raid 86. Wayne is Austrian, living in Germany, and Raid is Italian, I think living in Italy. He never told me. Wayne has been with us for a while. I think he found us in Alchemy League Season 3 or 4. He's very busy, but when he does commit, he does a good job of playing all of his games, which is really nice. And he's good at this. Not only is he good at high skill, but he's won money from us in the past. So this ELO here isn't just him being super mechanical and memorizing a build order on a ladder. There's a lot of creativity involved with this, and it's always fun to see Wayne play in Alchemy League when he has the time. Raid is new this season. He is the leader of the mighty Old School clan. So, and we've seen some good games out of Raid as well. I'm looking forward, hopefully, this is kind of a silly season to start out with, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But we really appreciate Raid sticking it through for us. Hopefully he's interested in the next sprint. In the second set, we're going to see, or in another set, we're actually going to do Wiznatic and Von Dutch first. Wiznatic versus Von Dutch. Wiznatic has been with us since Alchemy League Season 1. He's played in every season of the league. He's been a big supporter of ours. We really appreciate it. He even played with us back in the King of Ireland tournament years ago. He is a German player. Von Dutch has been with us since Alchemy League Season 5, and he is an Italian player. And obviously he is in OS, and he wants you to know that he's a part of the Old School clan. So we got some high-level games today. It's kind of it could be the last cast from the first sprint. First sprint, is a little chaotic. We're going to make a modification for the second sprint. and I'll describe to the maps, and I'll describe that in a little bit greater detail later. But the theme for this season is A Million Ways to Die in the Middle Ages. So we've got here are some map drafts, and we're actually going to see Wisnatic versus Von Dutch first, because I like to start with the lower elo and work my way up. And by lower elo, I mean like 1900 guys in this case. So they are playing, these look like standard maps, but they are modified versions of standard maps. And these guys, it's play all 2 or play all 3. It's whatever the players want, really. There's kind of a little bit of strategy involved, too, because basically what I'll do is I'll take somebody's win rate at the end of the sprint, and I will compare that to the win rate that they should have gotten given the elo of their opponents. And whoever outperforms the most wins, basically. The top 8 outperformers win money in Alchemy League. So these maps have been modified from their original version with some additional victory conditions. And I like to do a different map each cast. So we're going to see Salt Marsh and Gold Rush, and then we're going to see Arena and Arabia from Ween and Raid. So again, these maps are similar to standard maps. They were taken from old Age of Conquerors maps, and then repurposed, just because the modern maps are so indecipherable, which is kind of unfortunate, but sort of also an inevitable consequence of not really having that as a priority to make your maps decipherable. They had a very hobbyist map maker take over, very skilled. You probably heard of him, Crisini, and Crisini did to the standard maps the same thing that I would have done, right? He built all these compilers, and he's got these huge if statements and all kinds of just thousands of lines of code, and it's all done from an overlay on a separate program, right? And it just writes it in afterward, and that can be a lot more efficient, and you can cover a lot more ground and do a lot more things. The disadvantage is nobody else can really modify it. So it's the same thing that I would have done, same thing that probably anybody else would have done that has to hold these maps up to very high standards. And the unfortunate consequence is can't really work with the new maps when you need to make modifications. So we had to take some old, 50 to 200 lines of code maps, some very simple maps, and work in these modifications. So they're kind of old school, and you're going to see that. Let's talk about the Civ draft for Wisnatic and Von Dutch. The way that the Civilization draft works are the draft link, basically, the admin bans 5 civilizations right off the beginning. And then they each globally ban 2 civilizations if they're not satisfied with those bans. And then they pick 3, and then snipe 1 from each other, and then pick 1 more. So I think it was really cute that Von Dutch tried to get away with Persians here. Wisnatic sniping that. And Von Dutch sniping Malay, which is also pretty smart. Both these civilizations are really scary and sudden death for different reasons. Oh yes, you heard that right. This tournament is sudden death. So that means if you lose your town center, you die. So Persians, with their town centers having twice the normal hit points, well, probably don't want your opponent to have that kind of advantage, right? But Von Dutch also recognizing Malay and saying, I really don't like Malay. Malay are scary. Like, Malay can advance to the next stage lightning fast. They could bring monks, they could bring cannons, they could bring trebuchets. You have no idea what the Malay are going to do, and they have a solid eco because they spend less time advancing. They can be making villagers at the same time. So, this is saying that I have some kind of chat rate. Let me see if I can access the chat, actually. I kind of forgot about that. Sorry about that, guys. Maybe you guys are trying to tell me that you can't hear me or something, which would be kind of a disaster. View. I don't know why this wouldn't be default, right? Like, why wouldn't the chat be default? I completely forgot about the chat. The chat's like the best part. I don't know. Let's see what happens when I close that. Okay. Oh no, okay, I just have less information now. It wasn't blocking anything. Oh well. No, not that. Here comes the YouTube live control panel, but I don't see any. Yeah, alright, whatever. I can only see how many of you there are. I cannot seem to figure out how to find your chat. So I'm really sorry about that, guys. That is something that I will have to look into. I knew I was forgetting something. And I also can't really edit the stream title either, which is really kind of stupid. So I don't know. I had this all set up great too. Maybe it's just me being incompetent. I sure hope I don't get to the end of the stream and there's like I can't hear anything. There's no sound or anything like that. All right. Well, I guess if you have any questions that are very pressing, send me a Discord message if you're in the Discord. Maybe you're a totally new viewer and I'm blundering my way through a great opportunity to meet you. Sorry about that, but I will get it figured out. All right, so we're going to get on with the show here because that's the important part. And I'm just going to keep talking, and I'll just try to guess all of the profound things that you guys are going to say. And let me know how I do. So, I think their first game... Don't do that. Alright, their first game is on Saltmarsh, a modified version of it. We'll bring up the replay now. And I will change overlay here to the game. Okay, so you should be able to hear me just fine. Alright, so we got, let me know if you can't hear me somehow. So we've got Von Dutch versus Wizanatic. So Von Dutch is playing as the Red Khmer, and Wizanatic is playing as the Blue Lithuanians. So, the way that this tournament was when we designed it. So, standard victory condition, so in theory, if you control all the relics for a certain amount of time, you win. If you control a wonder until the countdown fully elapses, you win. If you control this monument until the countdown fully elapses, you win. If you destroy your enemy's fortified tower, you win. And if you destroy your enemy's town center, you win. So those are all of the non-exclusive victory conditions that we had planned out for this tournament. Basically, every map is going to have, you know, this monument. Every map is going to have a tower with some kind of walls defending it. The tower HP is random. And every map has to be played on sudden death. And actually, the maps are configured so that if you don't select the right settings, then you will be instantly defeated at the start of the game. So, let me actually just adjust the microphone a little bit. It looks like it's spending a lot of time on the red. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So we got Wizanatic here with a Lithuanian Insta-Drush. People have found that it's effective to try to rush this tower with villagers, but you don't want to do it initially. And it looks like Wizanatic has this idea that he's going to Lithuanian Insta-Drush, and that kind of gets your opponent on the defensive, and it clams them up in their base, and then when they're not looking, you send a bunch of villagers to attack the tower. That seems to be the meta right now. Oh! Wizanatic almost losing this king. Using the king to sort of distract his opponent. Now, you also start with a petard, and you got to be careful with that petard, because if you don't have loom, or you've got an injured villager, the petard can actually kill the villager. So this villager both does not have loom and is injured. So this petard could actually come in right here and just destroy the villager. Alright, so these militia trying to get in for some damage. Von Dutch quick walling. Oh, that's very unfortunate for Wizanatic. So he's got a militia with 1 HP. That Drush not exactly going the way that he had planned. I guess he's just going to use the militia to scout his opponent. Yeah, but the important thing is that he managed to keep the king alive. So Saltmarsh. Let me tell you a little bit about Saltmarsh. There's generally there are these 2 neutral islands. There's an island in the center. It's very flat. You know, I guess there are some fish, but not very many. Murky water. You know how salt marshes are. This map was repurposed for us by Jasuki. Jasuki is a map maker in our community. He is, I think, from Venezuela, but he lives in Spain right now. And he's helped us out a lot with maps in the past. I guess Wizenadic's lost his opportunity. Von Dutch is still not loomed, actually. You know, he really could do a lot of damage with this petard if he got in on the wood line before Von Dutch gets loom. Alright, meanwhile, Von Dutch out and scouting around here. Wizenadic has docked. These docks are quite common at high levels. You know, people sort of view the dock as an extra town center that can make villagers, but those villagers can only gather food. And I guess nowadays they can gather gold, too, in the form of oysters. But it's mostly just about getting a few fishing ships out to get a slight villager lead over your opponent. And Von Dutch is actually making militia now as well. You start with a barracks that's kind of next to your tower, so if you get attacked you can make some units from it and try to distract your enemy. Maybe fight off some of the attackers. Von Dutch coming over here and shanking. Oh no, Von Dutch. Oh, he lost a villager. Alright, so the petard does manage to kill a villager. The villager that I don't think it was the same villager that killed the militia, but at least Wizenadic getting some damage off of that petard from his drush. Alright, here comes Von Dutch. I don't know exactly what Von Dutch's plan is. He does not have the food to go up to the feudal age, but it looks like he wants to villager rush the tower. And we're going to see if that works for him. So Wizenadic, I don't think has any idea that that's coming. Yeah, he doesn't know. He'll see it though. So the petard is capable of destroying this fortified palisade. Von Dutch working on the fortified palisade to try to get in. And he's also going to try to wall these villagers into it as well. Does Wizenadic react? Yes, he is sending some villagers of his own. This is a very all-in strategy, and I think it's quite risky. He's got his king here. The fortified tower has a decent amount of attack, so if this fails... Oh no. There's a jaguar. Wizenadic sees the level of commitment and sends more villagers. He's got to fight off the jaguars, though. What's he doing? Just get in there and repair. That's all he's got to do is repair. I would just delete the walls at this point. He's going to come in. The king blocking this opening. Wizenadic just opening everything up. I'm not really sure how, I guess Wizenadic has never seen this strategy before. Von Dutch walling the tower in with his own villagers. Alright, so here's Wizenadic villager fighting him. He's gonna try to defend, or repair the tower, I think. The villager fights there. I think this tower, yeah, this is one of the more healthy generations of the tower, so Wizenadic's actually had some more time with this. Wizenadic is feudal age. He's got to repair the tower, though. I don't know if he's going to repair it in time. And Von Dutch manages to shank down the tower. And Wizenadic is defeated. Quick games. Or a quick game here. I don't know what Wizenadic, really what his plan was to do as Lithuanians. Maybe if his drush had some more effect, he could have prevented this. You know, if his drush were over here, could have been a different story as well. Von Dutch going all in on the tower rush and succeeding. So now we check the second game, and that is played on Gold Rush. Alright, Von Dutch is playing as the Red Malians, and Wizenadic is playing as the Blue Cumans. Now, Cumans are sort of an interesting choice, because you can't Cuman boom on sudden death settings. They are not allowed to build their second town center. But what Cumans can still build are rams in the feudal age. They get a siege workshop in the feudal age, and their archery ranges and stables are cheaper, I believe. They're something like only 75 wood. So we got Wizenadic scouting with his king. And picking up some sheep here or there. So Von Dutch is doing the same. Scouting with the king and the petard. So Gold Rush will be extensively for this season of the league. Kind of have a more uniform distribution of gold here in the center, with some protecting it. Going to do the deer push for Von Dutch. The king is good at pushing deer. He's a good scout in general. He has good vision, good health, and he's fast. Alright, so these walls around the tower are actually palisade walls. So that is weaker than the walls that we saw before. So we got the same barracks on each of these and a house. So Wizanatic is going to have to be careful in case Von Dutch decides to go for the tower again. Let's see. Yeah, not too much to say right now. They're just pushing in deer. We could talk about Cumans and Malians in general late game, because these civs are actually very much polar opposites, I believe. I guess in theory, Cumans get some RAM upgrades, but you know, so do the Mongols. The Cumans are a horde civilization. They are all about the Kipchaks and the Hussars and the ranged units in general. The Cumans don't really have any good infantry bonuses. In fact, I think if we look at the Cuman, I guess they got okay infantry, but they're kind of a weird civilization in general. Whereas the Malians are well known for their armored infantry and their capped rams and their gabetos and their hand cannons. They do get attack bonuses. They have a unique technology that gives +7 attack to all of their cavalry. The Malians do, I should say that as I'm looking at the Malians. So, you know, they both have some infantry options. I would say Malian late game infantry, they can essentially make champ scarls. Their champions for the Malians have extra pierce armor that allow them to ignore a lot of the arrow hurt. But it so happens that the Cumans actually have archers that fire multiple arrows. They're Kipchaks. So when you fire multiple arrows, it's like negating some pierce armor advantages. Not that it'll get to the late game, really. I don't think it will. I think somebody will probably try rushing the tower again. Maybe not. Now that Wizanatic is wise to Von Dutch. Maybe he won't, or maybe he will. Oh! Look at this. Is Von Dutch doing a wolf rush on Wizanatic? Oh, I love this. Look at this. I don't think this militia's going to survive. He's got to use his king to block the wolves. There we go. Oh, I love this. Unfortunately, the wolves kill the militia before Von Dutch is able to get these wolves into Wizanatic's base. But I was really hoping to see a wolf rush on this map, and it would be just like old school to do that too. So is Von Dutch going to make another militia and try it again? He is. Excellent. He's making another militia, and he's going to try the wolf rush again. Here we go. Yeah, these wolves are no joke. Maybe he's going to do 2 militia? I don't know. Can't tell. I do know that Von Dutch controls the monument. But Wizanatic has plenty of time to take it back. So Wizanatic sending some villagers. He's on his way up to the feudal age. I don't know what Wizanatic's resources look like. Because he's got the resources to build a siege workshop. So Von Dutch needs to be careful. Von Dutch is on his way up to the feudal age as well. Von Dutch should totally try to come up here and snag some wolves and bring them back to his tower, but I don't think he knows. Yeah, he doesn't know what Wizanatic's dastardly plans are. So you have to build a blacksmith before you can build a siege workshop. And Wizanatic has also made a couple of militia. Von Dutch has made a few militia of his own. Now Von Dutch is going to find this. with his king. So yeah, he sees that and he knows that his opponent is up to no good. Oh, don't tell me he's just going to run around it. Oh, he's going after the villagers. Okay. And he'll probably send a few villagers of his own. Yeah, here they are. And Wizenatic going for a tower rush. And what? Von Dutch just calls the GG. I don't know that it was over. I don't think it was over. If his wolf rush had been successful, he may have been able to snag some wolves to help him fight down here. I don't think it was over. So now we return to replays. I'm going to go back to the overlay. Oops. Okay. So let me show... Ween Dinchester versus Raid. So their civilization draft. The admin randomly banned Byzantines, Huns, Persians, Dravidians, and Gurjaras. They banned, for their global bans, Malay, Turks, Cumans, and Spanish. And then Ween picked Georgians, Bohemians, Britons, and Khmer, but Raid sniped the Bohemians, which is smart. And Ween Dinchester sniped the Bengalis after Raid picked them, the Hindustanis, the Portuguese, and the Sicilians. So Ween will have the choice of Georgians, Britons, or Khmer, and Raid will have the choice of Hindustanis, Portuguese, or Sicilians. Okay. So now let's zoom back into the game. So the game 1 is on Arena.
Yes.
Ween Dinchester has found some of his sheep. Now you start with more sheep over here and Ween notices about that. My king is trapped. Wait, what? No, I think he managed to get it. Yeah, Ween managed to get it out. So this arena is a little bit different. We couldn't just put the tower in the center, in the clearing, because what would happen is people would just have a castle dropping race, and it would be whoever can drop the castle on the tower first wins. So instead we have the tower kind of in its own little clearing over here, with the road leading up to it from the player town center. So this will connect you to your allies, this connection here, but it will not connect you to the inside. And the most popular strategy that we've seen so far is people going fast imp and then just treb rushing the tower. So that's why I'm excited to see what these guys come up with for this one. I would think that a standard monk rush should work pretty well here. There's the potential for a lot of resources to be forward on this map. It's true, you do have a slightly larger base on average, but still. Alright, so Ween is playing as the blue Khmer, and Raid is playing as the red Sicilians. So I'm wondering if Raid is going to do some kind of donjon rush, or if he's going to castle drop his opponent. As you guys know, the Sicilians drop castles faster. Ooh. What is this? And you basically actually can do feudal play. Now, there was a bug on the map, but we fixed it. Or they should be playing on the fixed version. 54 wall segments seems like a lot for this, though. Maybe they are double walled and they didn't update the map yet. But if they did update the map, then they should know that you can use your petard to burst through. And you can actually do feudal play. We'll see. So the Khmer make a lot of sense here. You can build a castle, and then you could like make the ballista elephant, and the ballista elephant could allow you to cut through. Like Ween could drop a castle here. He could make a ballista elephant, and he could cut through the trees to Raid's tower, And then he could make a bunch of petards or something and siege the tower in Castle Age and wall raid out from it. So that's something to consider.
No.
The Sicilians, it's a little bit more ambiguous for them. I feel like a Donjon Rush should be kind of the route that they'd want to go because there's so little space here in the center, right? And all the relics are clustered here in the center. And if you can build a forest of donjons, you know, around the monument, get all the relics and stuff, you can be in a really good position. So both of these civilizations, I think, have merit here. I'm disappointed that they're not monk civilizations, it's true. But you could still do a lot with them. Right now they're just sort of trading the monument. Let's see if we can click on this. And yeah, they're about 20 villagers right now. I don't think there's anything too fancy about what they're going to do for builds. They're going to do the lightning fast castle on arena, or if they're going to do something a little bit different. They both have 4 on wood. They both built their lumber camps first. Ween coming out for some gold. You know, it's just kind of basic arena stuff. You set it up. That's why I like arena. It's very, you know, it's very chill. You don't have to micro a bunch of things in Feudal Age in order to survive. You can get your economy all set up and safe and then go off for military adventures. That's how I prefer to play anyway. I don't know if I would like playing on this arena though. I think I probably would actually. But this arena would kind of freak me out at the same time. Because it's much easier to die. But you could do a monk rush here. In theory, you should be able to do a monk rush. Show up with the petard and burst your way in. Really what, you know, they say that, oh, you know, if you really have a petard on this map and there's only one layer of walls, you can burst your way in. But I don't think that's exactly true, because you can still, like, build partial walls around this and then quick wall what you need to in case your opponent bursts in. I really don't think that having a petard on this map and a single layer of stone walls means that it's no different than Arabia, where people have full-on feudal play. Because in Arabia, right, your opponent can come from anywhere, but on this map they can pretty much only come from the front, wherever you have a stone wall. And sometimes not even wherever, because they're not going to come from over here. Or over here. In Feudal Age, anyway. In Castle Age, maybe if your opponent is the Khmer, he can come from anywhere. And in Imperial Age, your opponent can come from anywhere, because everybody has access to at least trebuchets, which can cut their way through. So Ween is going to be first up to Feudal Age. It's a pretty impressive time. It's like a 22 pop villager Feudal Age. We see Ween making a mining camp. Now the Khmer do not require prerequisite buildings in order to click up to the next stage. So that's why they're able to pull off such fast Castle Age, and we can see that Ween has already queued up Castle Age. He's sending a bunch of villagers, and he's on stone. So we know that Ween is going for a castle. Raid is nearly up to the Feudal Age himself, although Ween is already on his way up to the Castle Age. Surely Raid sees that, and he's nervous about it. Raid's an experienced player. He is, after all, part of old school. So he's going to know that Ween is up to no good. So Raid should have a pretty clean build himself. He is able to make a market and a blacksmith immediately, and he should have the resources to click up as well. Yeah, I mean, he can sell a little bit of wood or something after he builds the market. It's not a big deal. But he has a decent economy. He's actually idling his town center, though, because he wants to click up as soon as possible. And he's going to sell something, and then click up. He sold some food. Okay. So Raid not far behind Ween. Ween is nearly Castle Age, and he'll have probably about a minute to a minute and a half of Castle Age advantage over Raid, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually could kind of be a lot. So Ween is collecting a generous amount of stone, And I think that Ween is... They're actually both collecting stone. Raid is on stone as well. He's not on stone as heavily. Which tells me he doesn't really want a castle as badly. So Ween gets to the castle age, and he's actually going to build a siege workshop. Interesting. And Raid is coming out here, and he's building... Interesting. He's building a donjon. So I think I just saw the flash of somebody's petard, but I don't know. I didn't catch what happened. So Raid just taking a little bit of map control. He figures if he builds this donjon here, he can prevent Ween from walking across the map and dropping a castle right on his face and taking all that map control. And, or maybe these donjons are intended for an offensive purpose. Okay, so here's the castle from Ween. He's playing it kind of conservatively. Ween, the significance about this castle, and Ween, you know, Ween knows. Like, he knows his opponent is active in the center. He's not even going to go out and try to contest it. But does Raid know about Ween's castle? No, right? Raid doesn't know. Now, Raid can guess. He can sort of assume, but he can't actually scout it yet. So the presence of this castle will be a good defense for Ween's main gold. Although Raid will probably be able to go around and come in this way, but this isn't too hard to shore up with the stone wall. And having the castle here, ooh, a siege tower from Raid. So having the castle here will allow Ween Dinchester to still make his Ballista Elephant, which is kind of what he's planning. And he's got mangonels. Okay. So mangonels could be really appropriate because the fortified tower has less health than usual. And here are the villagers. And here's a castle drop inside of the walls. This is pretty amazing. I've heard of this in Legend, but I haven't actually seen it done in one of my tournaments before, where somebody will... He's got to be careful. Somebody will do the Sicilian castle drop inside of somebody else's wall. Unfortunately for Raid, Ween Dinchester was ready. Raid did not see this castle here. I guess he probably could have assumed. Does Raid have... Raid has a little bit in terms of resources. Maybe he could have made some sergeants or something like that to help him. Or maybe he could have made the castle a little bit further back. But this castle was kind of a greedy maneuver here, and Ween punished it. So unfortunately for Raid, Ween tried the Sicilian castle drop inside of the walls, and he didn't have much luck with it. Also, maybe if he had sent more villagers, it could have been different. Looks like his berry pickers needed some work. But anyway, it was fun to see him try. He got about halfway up. But again, he was just unfortunate that this would have worked against an opponent that was like booming, right? The Khmer booming. And I think that Raid, you know, because Raid had no way of knowing that Ween was taking this stone. And Ween's uptime was sort of indicative of a boom. And that may be why Raid attempted this, because he thought, oh, Ween is just booming. He's going to try to get ahead, although it's sudden death, so you can't really boom. So actually, there's no excuse. This mangonel really hurt him. Without this mangonel, maybe he could have done something. So now we're going to watch their second game. Turn to replays. Game 2, which is on Arabia. Again, it's the old school, very classic Arabia. Not a lot of, no player assigned wood lines or anything. I mean, in theory, your resources should all kind of be around somewhere. The forest patches. The monument in the center. You got this hill with some stone walls. And the fortified tower here. So, we have Ween Dinchester playing as the Red Georgians, and Raid playing as the Blue Hindustanis. And I like the old school Arabia too, because it's got all these huge hills just scattered across the map. It gives you the feeling of sand dunes, which is a good thing. It has these very weird oak forests, which I don't really understand, but I guess it's kind of a classic thing now. It should all be palm desert forest, right? I mean, this is a desert area, hot, sunny, Inhospitable climate. Too rough for oak trees, in my opinion. Oh well, it's just how it goes. Alright, what is this? What is this? Oh, okay, there's a boar right there. Alright, it's just an innocent boar lure, you guys. Nothing to see here. So Georgians versus Hindustanis. I think Hindustanis have a big civilization advantage here. They have amazing camels. And Georgians are really... they're a cavalry civilization with defenses. So they're kind of designed, like their units don't take as much damage from from attacking uphill or something. This'll say. Units and buildings receive 15% less damage when fighting from higher elevation. So they're better at hill bonuses. Their buildings cost less to repair. They got those fortified church things. And the Georgians were all about, I think the civilization was kind of designed based on the rocky terrain of the country of Georgia, there in the Caucasus Mountains. All kinds of cliffs and stone fortifications and stone churches and that sort of thing. And cavalry to get between them. Are they a horde civilization? Well, I don't know about that. But they're definitely geared around cavalry. And Raid is in luck because his civilization is geared around camels, and camels are good at eating cavalry. So that's not to say that the Georgians don't have tools. So we see Ween Dinchester coming with a drush, 3 militia. He's got a wolf here fighting him. I want to get the hill advantage against the wolf and then kill the wolf. Alright, and so Ween is going to see what kind of damage he can do. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ween, no. No, Ween. Town center. Trying to distract the arrow fire with the king, which is very bold. Alright, so he's got 2 militia left and he's got a petard. And the petard could be useful for blowing up a villager. His opponent does not have loom yet. Don't lose your king. Don't have your king get stuck. Oh, the petard blowing into the Raid attacking the militia. Alright, and the petard opening up a hole. And so now the militia are able to kind of fight these villagers on the wood line. It's not small walled anymore. But because Raid was able to damage the militia with his petard, Ween doesn't really want to take a fight. So he's just going to attack the house. Which is actually kind of annoying. Because the houses have negative armor, so the militia actually have more attack against houses. It's 6 damage per swing. So you actually could slowly destroy this house. Now Raid is here taking deer. I don't know if Ween knows about that. No, he doesn't. He could potentially harass these villagers. And Ween is not taking deer as far as I can tell. His deer are back here. He actually didn't find these sheep, which is unfortunate. Because I think Ween could use some food right now. Although Ween is on his way up to the feudal age, and he can afford to get double bit axe and or horse collar. As well as even queue up some villagers potentially. He's got his last sheep here, but he's throwing down a farm anyway. So he's working on damaging this other house. Villager comes to shank this. Might have to react. Well, at least he was able to get Raid to get loom. Put him a villager behind. Now, where is Ween's king? I'm not sure. We've actually seen kings get killed and people die because they lost their king. But you know, if we gave people a regular scout and then had the king, people would just garrison the king in their town center, and then it would basically be no different than a sudden death victory. So Ween just going to attack this mill instead. And he actually has a hill advantage against the mill too, so that might be about the same amount of attack. Let's see if we can figure out how many. Yeah, it's 5. It does 5 damage. And Raid sending a villager here to fight this. So Unfortunately for Ween, he didn't have much luck with his drush. One of the militia died to town center arrow fire, and the other two were weakened by an explosion. So Ween builds an archery range, and he's going to make some archers instead. Going to try and be as aggressive against his opponent as possible. This gold for Raid is pretty forward. And this gold right here is weirdly in the back. Remember, this is old school Arabia, so golds can just be kind of like parked up against wood lines like this. And, you know, actually, if you built a tower right here, you could cover a lot of resources. So I actually like this gold. I think this gold is easier to defend. You know, you can just kind of build a couple wall segments in here to block this off. You can then maybe wall to this cliff, and then maybe build another wall here, or a house, and then a wall, and then a tower. And, you know, you kind of have a nice little pocket back here to have some economy in. But Raid is heavily invested in the berries. Alright, so Ween is... Where's Ween? There are no longer archers in the range. Oh, here they are. Alright, so this archer fights the wolf, and now he's gonna make his way. Ween does not have fletching yet. He is building a blacksmith so that he can get fletching. So the archer, again, these villagers have 2 pierce armor, so each of these archers does 2 damage to the villager. But if they get fletching, they'll do 3, so it's an increase of 50% more damage. And Ween has sent an archer here too, so Raid is going to have to respond with some skirmishers. He's building an archery range now. I guess he figures this archer is weak enough that he can shank it away and kill it. He's got some other villagers chasing this other archer off. But Ween is eventually going to get out of control here, right? Ween's got 3 archers now. And with 3 archers with fletching, you can like 3-shot a villager with that. So even a villager will lose, so you have to be very careful. Raid just needs to get this archery range up, and I think he'll be okay. He's not back here anymore. Raid has to get free of these archers. Evacuate the town center and chop the straggler. Ween is really piling the pressure on. Oh. And he's sending in more feudal aggression as well. Raid just trying to survive. Now, oh. Raid has a sneaky siege workshop here. So Raid going fast castle. And does Ween doesn't know about it. We didn't even know about it. We just spotted it. Hindustanis are great because, let's go over to Raid's point of view. I believe these elephants cost food, and at this point in time, you know, food is actually easier to come by than wood in some cases, because you just advanced to the castle age. And Ween is over here harassing Raid, thinking, oh, you know, I got this. But he doesn't know that Raid is planning a siege elephant attack against his tower. And he has a few spearmen here, too. And, uh-oh. Does Ween even notice? Oh, Ween is over here having a great time killing villagers. Raid playing to the objectives. So, at this point, Ween notices, right? He deletes the wall segment, and he's going to send some villagers over to shank the tower. and Ween laughing. You know, it's funny, you know, because we saw Jasuni do exactly the same thing. So it's funny that this same strategy is effective whether or not you're at 2K or whether or not you're at 1K. These elephants here need to focus on the tower. And Ween coming is going to repair the tower. Right, he's got the villagers, he's got to get them working. But the elephants tear down the tower, and Raid is victorious. So that's quite an upset there. Good stuff. Now we are going to, for the second season, because the tower does appear to be a pretty big weak point. So for the second season, we're going to boost the defenses of this tower. We're going to add some defending watchtowers around it, and I think we're going to remove the possibility of having palisade walls as the outer wall as well. But fun stuff. This is a very interesting comeback from Raid here. Without the tower, Ween certainly would have defeated him, I think, because he was, I mean, look at it, he hardly controlled any of the map. He was just on his berries and he was just on his wood. So Raid with a sneaky siege workshop for the win. And it's just funny to see this strategy work at 1k when Jasuni's doing it, or at 2k when Raid is doing it. Alright, well, I think that's going to do it for me for today, guys. I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with my studio, and see if I can go back to change overlays here, see if I can get it to display the chat, because that was the main weakness from today. No chat. I don't know where the chat is. I mean, hopefully everything is all right, and I go back and watch the video, and you can still hear everything and such. So I am going to end the stream here. I really appreciate those that tuned in, and hopefully it wasn't too bad because I didn't get any Discord messages, or maybe you were all new people and you weren't able to message me on Discord, and the stream was a disaster. But hopefully that's not the case. So thank you so much, guys. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. We're going to try this again, hopefully in the near future, maybe sometime this week or on Sunday.